And welcome back to the Concord TV studio for another episode of Community Conversations. I'm Josh Hardy, Concord TV's Executive Director, and we love Community Conversations because we get to talk to so many great organizations and people who are making a great difference in the greater Concord area. And today is no different because we have with us today some folks from Project Search, which we're excited to share with you about. We have Stephanie Brasley representing the program, as well as Abby and Wyatt, who have been interns as part of the program. And for those of you wondering, what does this program actually entail? Stephanie, you've got all that information for us. So first up, I understand that it's not just local, it's national and international, the whole concept of Project Search.
Correct.
Just give us some background what this program even is.
So it's a work training program for young adults with disabilities. And what it is an opportunity for interns to spend 9 months immersed in a work experience. They do 3 10-week internships where they are working alongside individuals within departments at Concord Hospital. So our Concord Hospital is our host business. And they have the opportunity to learn a lot of those transferable skills along with soft skills.
What makes a hospital such a great environment for a program like this?
Different types of jobs. So you have food service, you have linens, you have environmental services. We also have some individuals who've been working in some of the clinical area as well, such as central sterile supply. We've got some people who are in the practices, so internal medicine is another one that we've had individuals in.
So many different areas. It's funny, once you're in a hospital, you realize it's like an ecosystem with all of its own, with the food services and sanitation, all those different areas that you had mentioned.
Yes.
So my understanding is that most project searches happen at hospitals, maybe not always the case, but
correct. Not always the case, but the majority of these sites are at a hospital setting. And some of the others have been in warehouses. There's been some at banks, military bases, so a variety of different spots. It just really depends on the area of where individuals can set up that site.
Okay. Now, before we get to Abby and Wyatt, because we have all kinds of questions and want to get to know you guys a little bit, what schools, for the Capital Region version of this, how do you determine which schools are participating or students from which schools can participate?
Yeah, so we actually follow kind of the Community Bridges, which is an area agency, their catchment area. And so local high schools could include, obviously Concord, but certainly going out all the way out to Kearsarge High School. We've gone all the way up to Tilton, and then all the way down to Bedford. Where we've had individuals. The other thing about our program is we are considered a hybrid program, so we can take individuals all the way up to age 35. Our sweet spot is 20 to 25, but certainly we're open to other ages as well.
That's terrific. So without further ado, we have Abby and Wyatt here. Thanks for being in here under the bright lights of the Concord TV studio. So Abby, just tell us a little bit about why you joined Project Search initially. What made you want to take part in it?
Yeah. Why did you want to come to Project Search?
To work on better job skills.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the things that you learned? What was the experience like being in a hospital and being part of that?
I've learned a bunch of stuff, actually. I've learned how to room patients. I've learned
the in and out process.
Yeah. I've learned how to clock in and clock out people.
Those are all great. Those are things I don't even know how to do. That sounds interesting. So did you also have a chance to work with hospital staff?
Yes.
Yeah.
I helped them out, so I did cleaning rooms. I stocked rooms so that the nurses have more time to care for patients.
Yeah. That's all great. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Abby, thanks for sharing some of your perspective and your experiences. Wyatt, to put you in the spotlight a little bit, what made you want to join, or if you could take us back to when you were thinking about doing this internship, what was that like?
Back to the past.
Back to the past.
Yep. But for me, it's basically the same thing to learn more job skills, because school doesn't really teach you about that stuff.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
Yeah, it's a different environment, a learning
Yeah.
environment. Yeah.
And when I hold hospital, I was told by my dad that it's a much more metal environment because there's nicer people there, and just it's like a much more nicer place, which he's definitely correct.
Yeah, so what are some of the skills, we had talked about the hard skills and the soft skills, what are some of the things they had you work on while you were in your internship?
Well, I've always been a person that's always been good on being on time, but I've got better at multitasking and prioritizing what needs to get done for us.
Yeah.
I also been, in my most recent one, I actually went in, which is in sterilization, or CSS for short. I actually had to put on a uniform. Well, not really a uniform, it's mostly scrubs, but mostly, it's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But I actually got to walk in there and got to clean trays, put them away, and I also got to wrap up some of the stuff that needs to get sterilized, which are prep kits. Like, I'm not really sure how to say it, but there's like 2 bowls with 10 fabric pieces in them, and some thermometer to make sure it's actually been through the sterilization process. And I just wrapped them up and they put it in there.
I'm so glad that you mentioned multitasking. My role at Concord TV, I'm actually the executive director, so I have a couple of employees that work for us, and a lot of times I weigh between working on one task from beginning to end and then moving on to the next one and working on one task. That's not really what happens at Concord TV typically, because there's a lot happening. We're doing a studio show today. We have other responsibilities that are kind of staggered. So multitasking, I'm not surprised in a hospital environment. But I'm curious, maybe we start with Wyatt and then maybe Abby, get your thoughts on what it was like working on multiple things at the same time in a kind of busy hospital environment.
Definitely, basically like ping pong, you just bounce around. I'm just doing a task and then something a bit more important comes up, like, hey, the scopes that need to bring to certain locations. So I just get to a good spot where I was and just go and do it.
Nice. Abby, were you kind of working on multiple things at the same time, like Wyatt was?
Yeah, so I was in internal med, and you go from cleaning rooms to stocking to getting patients, so you're kind of bouncing around. You need to make sure, like, when you're getting patients, that rooms are clean for your patient to be in.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, glad you guys have had those experiences. Stephanie, to bring it back to you for a second, have you seen the program evolve or grow or change since you've been around, or in the 15 years since it's been at Concord Hospital, has it changed or evolved?
I think,
in the way it runs.
Right. Well, I think I've been in the position for 6 years, and so I can only speak to that. I know that certainly I inherited some of the things that were going on before I came into the position, but I think what we do is follow a fidelity model, but then bring in a lot of our other, aspects of the program. Like, we have a business advisory council that comes and meets with us 5 times a year, and it's local businesses that come in and support these guys about, learning how to develop their resume. What are businesses looking for? What are employers looking for? As well as, tips on how to give a good interview. So really getting community to be a part of our program has been kind of my mission in the last 5-6 years since I've been in the position, because I think having people know about the program, we'll be in better shape, and we're benefiting them, so that they can thrive and be successful.
Yeah, and, right, and being successful in that career development is so
Yeah.
important.
Exactly.
Have you guys, not to put you on the spot here, have you worked on your resumes, and how has that
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
gone? Resumes are super frustrating sometimes.
You gotta fight with them.
And it's not just, like I find it's also the layout of a resume, it's what are you going to include, the order that you include things. How's it been for you, Abby, working on the resume?
I've had my fair struggles, but it definitely got done.
There you go, good.
And I was just going to say, Abby just recently used her resume to apply for a position at Concord Hospital.
That's super exciting, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm next.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's great, Wyatt, yeah, yeah.
But for me, I just need to be learning about it, just so I can use it for later. Like lots of proofreading, because from what she's told me, one spelling mistake can really make the difference.
Yeah, yeah, spelling mistakes. Another thing I've seen is when you can tell an applicant has just copy pasted from one. Sometimes applicants, they'll apply to 20 different jobs at the same time, and they'll kind of copy paste the same blurb, the same text. So I've seen it from the employer side that when you apply, that you put in care about that particular job you're applying for is really important. So you said that it's 5 times a year that members of the business community will come in? Is it like a workshop environment, or?
No, it's a meeting that's from 8:30 to 9:30, so it's really a low commitment, I'd say, but high return in the sense that, we're just asking for individuals to come in and speak to our interns. So we have the first half hour, our interns are either presenting about what internship they're in and talking about that, or it might be that we're talking about resumes or interviewing. And then the other half hour is really getting a sense of what our employers looking for and trying to develop that network so that, as our goal for all of our interns is employment. That is the outcome that we're looking for. And so, having that network and having companies and businesses know, wow, I've seen this person develop over the years. I see over the year, and I see the skills that they've developed. I think they could be a really good match for either our business or I know somebody. So it's all about that networking piece.
That's for business. That's absolutely the key.
Yeah.
Is interpersonal, networking. I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce is a great resource potentially too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
This is all terrific. This is really great. And it looked like the website, the Project Search national website, is probably the best way for people who are interested in participating. Projectsearch.us, and then from there you can learn more about your region's Project Search.
Correct. Yes. That's probably the best way to get an overview of what the program's all about. There's a lot of information, and I think you can tap into some different videos as well. And then again, locally, we're here in Concord, and there's actually 4 other sites here in the state. Okay. So one over in Keene, one in Lebanon at Dartmouth Hitchcock, one down in Nashua, and then one over at the Seacoast.
So pretty much cover all your bases across the state. I like that.
Yeah,
that's terrific. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to get one last thought from our former interns here. What would you say to someone who is thinking about signing up, participating in Project Search? They haven't done it yet, they're thinking about it. If picture they're sitting here in this chair, what would you say to them? Maybe we start with Wyatt and then we'll go to Abby, just to kind of change the order here, to convince them that it's a great experience worth doing.
You're like putting me in the hot seat, do you?
I do, yeah.
But for what I would say is, it's definitely think of it like like an extra class or extra year of school.
Yep.
But it actually prepares you for what you need for the future, and it even though it can be hard at times, it definitely will help you out in the long run.
Awesome answer. Abby, what do you think?
Do it. Have the confidence.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, confidence is a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Believing in yourself that
Believe
you're,
in yourself,
Yep.
have confidence. Yeah. It's definitely a good program. I'd like it.
awesome.
It's amazing to see the growth that young people can make in those 9 months. They tend not to be the same person who came in September and leave in June. There's so much confidence, self-esteem. It's just an amazing opportunity to see that growth.
Yeah, that's amazing. So again, I encourage our audience to check out Project Search. And it's amazing work that's happening right here in the capital area, across New Hampshire, the country, and the world. So I'd like to thank again Stephanie and Abby and Wyatt for joining us. See, guys, you guys did a great job. No pressure here in the TV studio. And I'd like to thank our audience for tuning in. Your feedback on what works and what doesn't. If there's guests you want featured, if there's nonprofits that you want to connect us with that maybe we haven't worked with before, we're always looking to make those connections. And in a couple weeks, we'll have another episode, so we hope you'll tune in then. Thanks.